going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Daca Toys Kronos, and a big shout out goes to Robert D from the Shattered Cast crew, who sent this guy to me to look at, and then ultimately just said, you know what, don't even bother sending him back, because I had mentioned how I was looking for one, and yeah, so that was totally awesome and completely unexpected. Yeah, so now I have a Daca Toys Kronos. And man is he big, and man does he look like Jetfire or Skyfire or whatever you want to call him, whichever version you prefer. He is an awesome looking representation of Skyfire. And that's kind of where the praise ends, if that makes any sense. So let's start at the very basics. We won't talk about the box, but we'll talk about the instructions for Kronos here. I don't understand why they did this, because it's such a big toy, and they made these real nice high production value book, and when you start getting to the later pages, it just kind of wants to close itself. I don't know why you would make something so big that you don't want to break, and you'd make it in a way that just is really hard to use the instruction manual. And it could have benefited from some bigger pictures too, because you don't always understand what it's telling you to do. So the next thing I want to talk about is the plastic quality, and everybody knows that there's a certain company out there who I love to rip on for plastic quality and tolerances and stuff like that. Of course, that's Impossible Toys. That just feels cheap. Things don't quite work right. Yeah, generally it's a mess. Feeling very, very flimsy and very cheap. Unfortunately, because this is smaller, it ends up feeling like it's higher quality than this guy. Now, I'm pretty sure the plastic is the same quality, but I've deliberately not touched him so you guys can listen. Like, he just sounds super hollow, and you can see certain things like his feet just dangle. So the plastic quality is lacking, and I do this hesitantly because, you know, he is fairly expensive. But check out this foot wobble. No ratchets in there whatsoever. Things just kind of wobble around like crazy. And we'll stop there because I'm afraid that I'm going to break things. And speaking of break things, another shout out goes to Autotron Prime on Shapeways, who actually produces a lot of parts to fix this guy when he inevitably breaks. And we'll get to what part on mine broke pretty well right after I got him from Robert. And yeah, I was afraid I was going to be buying this off him anyway, considering how quickly it was like falling apart. Yeah. That said, standing here, he looks great, and let's talk about his articulation. The head is on a ball joint with a weird plate up here, so it does kind of bounce up and down on you when you're trying to mess with it. The shoulders, you have to hold this clip, but you get pretty well a 360 if you get it out of the way of the wings back there. Good in and out, which is ratcheted. And then we decided to double joint the elbow. At least I believe it's double jointed. Yeah, a little bit, not completely. So you get good range of motion, but there is no ratchet here. It's all friction together, which kind of stinks. You come down to, you do have the bicep swivel too, if I didn't mention it. The wrist is on a swivel, and it's very loose. Each one of these fingers is articulated, and good thing that they actually look like they have pins in them. I'm not sure if they're metal or plastic pins, but there's some kind of pin inside there, so you get some good articulation out of the hands if that's your thing. Personally, I would have preferred to have just, you know, a solid cast hand. You know, not solid cast, but where the thumb and the actual fingers are all bound together on one swivel. No waist articulation because of how he transforms. These hip skirts go out of the way, and you can see no ratchets here at all. Just super floppy. So no Perceptor kicks for him. You do have a thigh swivel. You do have a decent knee joint, and then coming down to the leg here, you do have this mess of an assembly in here, which does allow some pivoting on the ankle down here for all the dynamic posing. He really really can't do because he is super floppy. I mean, like, he's just about ready to fall over if the joint, you know, could move any more than that. So posing is definitely not something that this Jetfire is going to do. He pretty well stands on a shelf and even does that questionably well, because you find yourself rocking him back and forth until you find that spot where his feet really want to sit. Fortunately, with the friction joint, he does actually end up holding his gun fairly well, at least on this arm. And this arm is a bit tighter for me than this one is. So mine is permanently right-handed, which is fine because that just sits with my sensibilities anyway. So let's do some size comparisons on him real quick, and we'll get on with some other things. Here he is next to the MP10 Optimus Prime, and that size difference is pretty huge, but given the size of Jetfire, it kind of feels right. And I don't have a Starscream handy right now, but here is a Skywarp, and I think that that's pretty okay too. I guess Starscream could be a little bit bigger compared to Jetfire, but ultimately I'm okay with it. And I guess just to kind of really show his true size here, if you were to compare him with something else that's on the same scale, here is your MP Starsaber, and you can see he's bigger than Starsaber. So he is a big toy, but he is lacking in overall quality. So we're going to do the very best we can to try to transform him. Hopefully we'll have everything on camera. I'm going to start by taking his gun out, and unfortunately I can't find anywhere the gun goes in vehicle mode, so we put it aside. And here's his gun just for reference. It's pretty nicely sculpted, and this feels way better than any of the plastic on the rest of the toy. I don't know if the white plastic is cheaper, but this feels real dense and real nice. Yeah, no complaints about this gun. So let's go ahead and we'll start by folding up his hands here, and we'll open this up and flip this inside here. And I meant to do this review probably about a month ago when I first got it, but like I said, he had a pretty critical failure that one of his arms was off for quite a while, so he was in need of repair. So we'll go ahead and flip those in. We'll come down to his feet. And his feet are an interesting affair. These are some of the parts that Autotron Prime has available on Shapeways, specifically this little piece in here. And you can see, like, it's just like poorly constructed. Like, I don't know, it looks like a part that someone prototype printed, and that was it. That was as much trouble as they went through. Anyway, you're gonna take this toe and fold the foot all the way up and this piece through here, and then that's pretty much should fit just like that. And then we can close all of these pieces just like so on that foot. So let's do that again for the other side. We'll open this up, bring this all the way back and fold the foot through this peg and bring this down, and then close all of these pieces just like so. And this is going to be a hard review because he is heavy to hold up, surprisingly. The next thing we're going to do, let's take this off, which just slides straight up, and we're going to open his arms here, fold these little pieces out here, and take this piece that they call the removable piece off. And we will deal with that a little bit later in robot mode. And this is where you can see this piece right here completely broke on this side, where it holds the arm together. So this is one of the replacement pieces that you can get on Shapeways. This is in the acrylic white, and it took a little bit of sanding, but it works like a charm. So if you have one or you get one, yeah, there are parts out there to fix this guy. The next thing to do, which is difficult, is to take his foot and slide it all the way in, and God, it is scary because the plastic itself doesn't feel great, so it always feels like it's gonna break. But bring it all the way up like that, and let's see if we can get the other side up. Come on, big guy, you can do it. Okay, I'm taking this off camera because I don't want to break them. I guarantee you though, I am working to get this thing in. There it went. You could finally hear it. It's just your standard like telescoping leg trick that you see on a lot of MP sized items. And it doesn't feel like it's all the way in. We'll see once we have him in his vehicle mode a little closer. So the next thing to do is take these parts and split them all the way so he looks pretty ridiculous like this. Take this piece, fold it down, and bring... No, let's not fold that down yet. Let's do this part here. We'll untab these and bring these out just like that. And these little clips really worry me that in time they're gonna go, but so far no problems. Take them, fold them out, and then unclip these pieces from the back here, and you got this big mess of a toy right now. Now we're gonna take this head and start folding it down while you fold this nose cone up, just like this, and this will clip in place, just like so. And these are gonna end up just like that. I suppose we can take the nose cone of the jet and slide it out. If you do get this guy, mine was really tight and I had to loosen those two screws just a little bit to make it actually slide in and out real easy, but just something to be aware of. So now that you have this, your arms have been flopping around here, and let's see if I can kind of show you. See how the arm assembly, it pegs in here and then it screws in here, and there's only a tiny little bit of material here, and then this whole piece needs to fold around this way. And I actually sanded, if you can see in there, a bunch of the paint away because it was too thick of a coat on there, that when this came around it would get to about here, and I'm pretty sure that when you were trying to push this in, that's what ended up stressing this piece and breaking it. But anyway, you fold this around like so, and just like that, and then take these and fold the arms on down so they're kind of resting in these little sockets down here. So you have something kind of like this going on. The next thing to do is to take these pieces, and you can see the ones already kind of fallen into place. Figure out the way to rotate these around without this ball joint getting stuck. It kind of like wobbles up and down on this joint and around. And then this is going to plug in to the sides of the shoulders on each piece here. And hopefully we can do it without any kind of catastrophic damage, because that would be bad. And there's also inside here, you can barely see it, like a tab that has to be in the shoulder socket for it to really kind of clip in a flush way in the front. So we got that, and thankfully that is pretty much most of the jet mode. We're gonna put him down here, and well, I guess we'll put it like this. And most of everything here, like you saw, it is super floppy, and we need the rest of this to really shore it up. So the first thing to do is put this assembly back in place. I thought it went the other way, but I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, just like that. And then you take this piece here, you flip this on down, which inevitably you're going to need your handy dandy Hail Hasbro tool here. But you got to get back here and flip this support piece down and this support piece down, which is crazy considering how hard they are to get down. They do a horrible job supporting Jetfire here. And also pull out these here, which just peg in on these four little tabs right here. So what this does now, spread the legs there, and then take it and just slide this slot here onto that tab here, which can be difficult to do. There we go. In the process, it's usually going to end up messing with these tabs. In this case, it didn't. So now you take these and plug them into the sides here, and this will tell you if you ended up not quite getting the sides of Jetfire correct. It should plug in. Come on, buddy, you can do this. There we go. Here's one. And two, and that pretty much will make Jetfire hold a bit better. I still feel like, let me take this back off again. This leg here is not collapsed quite enough. There we go. One extra little click it needed to go. I cannot, words can't describe how scary it is to compress those legs. I just feel like I'm one transformation away at all times from this thing just like shattering in my hands when I'm trying to compress the leg. But there we go. Once you have it in the right position, these do peg in very nicely, and then you can take these and kind of sit them back down in place. And I always angle these up so they're not the whole arm is touching the ground when you put it down. Take these little flat pieces and just kind of fold them down there like so. So let's take this, and we've got this going on. We take these wings, fold them on back. They have these little red tabs to close this up. And you can see that this backpack assembly tab is not necessarily the strongest connection on the legs. It works for all intents and purposes, but it could be better. There we go. And then you take these little pieces here, and they simply peg right on the sides of the front nose cone here to kind of bulk that out. And I will say, when this guy is complete and in his jet mode, he feels really good. Let's see if we can get them all in there. I mean, that is just, it's awesome looking. It is. I mean, I can't deny how cool he looks in his jet mode. He's completely successful. The transformation sucks, the plastic quality sucks, the joints suck, but he looks good. And for a Transformer shelf, that's all I really need. Here's an MP Rodimus, or Hot Rod I should say, just for size comparison. Like, this dude is massive. To compare, you know, here's your Seeker again, kind of showing the overall wingspan. The Seeker is probably maybe like 2/3 of his wingspan. I wish I had one in jet mode somewhere that I could show you that. In fact, I might. Give me 1 second. For you, it'll be instant. So here we go. We're going gorilla style and picking this up. There is your Seeker. Acid Storm here next to Jetfire, and you can see Jetfire is just massive compared to Acid Storm here. So let's get Jetfire here transformed back to his robot mode, and let's get out of here. We'll start by taking this top piece off, and it's so weird that the one leg clips and the other one doesn't for me. We slide that out. We'll open these pieces up so we don't break anything, and fold these on in. And you can kind of do whatever you want with the wings. I prefer them out to the side, just like that in the back. And we'll put that aside. We'll take this piece off and we'll leave that to the side. And we'll get these pieces unpegged here. Oh, let's take these little front pieces off, I should say. And we'll put them on here because we don't want to forget them. And there is actually, believe it or not, a specific side that these do go on. Either that or I have impeccably bad luck getting them in. But yeah, that one did not fit on that side. And the other one fit perfectly on the floor here. There we go. Yeah, just pegged in one way. Fold these things up and put that aside. And then we'll come to the actual core robot here. We'll take these and we'll unpeg them from these arms, bring them up, take these arms and bring them around. And I'm always careful with this one. Bring it around, and then let's go ahead and close the, well, we can't do that yet. Let's bring the camera up so you guys can see what I'm doing. And we'll take this, fold this on in, get these folded up and out of the way. However it will work for you. There we go. Now we'll take this piece, unclip it from the front here, bringing the head down with it, and bring this all the way down and around just like so, with the head up. And we'll raise this even more so you guys can see what's going on. Once we have this in place, bring the arms up, open these little tab pieces here. This is gonna go in place and clip the arm in. So again, bring this, and when I say up in place, you gotta get that little hole on the back here around this tab here to kind of hold it in place, and then bring this down and clip it in place, and that brings that whole assembly together. And once you have that, you can bring these legs together. Yeah, I think that there's a little extra room here because if the nose cone is sticking out a little, but it's not a problem if you loosen that bolt. From here, rip his leg straight off on both sides, just like so. And there we go, we lost his arm up here on both sides in the process. And this is why these little tabs at the top really scare me. Come down to here, open up all these flaps down here, just like so. Bring this little plate that just swivels around. Take this and work it free and open up the toe there. That's going to give you the ability to close all this stuff right back up, and this back one kind of sits on the foot like that. So we'll go ahead and do that to the other side. Open it, open it, open, flip this down, put some pressure on the back of the foot so it swivels properly. And this is why I'm pretty sure these pieces are breakable, because if you I can see putting the wrong type of torque on them and just breaking that piece. Very fragile. There we go, we got that. We'll have to make sure his feet actually do their job that they're supposed to and stand. Get everything all cleaned up on the top again if it came undone. Raise your camera even more because he's a behemoth. We'll take his arms here. Before we forget, we'll take the removable piece and put it right on here. Again, open these arms and fold these down to fill in the little holes in his, I guess it'd be his abdomen area, I guess. Take these, flip them open carefully. There we go. There we go. Close it, fix whatever's popped itself loose, and finally come around to the back of the robot here and use the bottom plug and just plug that right on in there. And there you go. I love him. I think he looks great in both modes. I wish that someone like Make Toys or Fans Toys or Fans Project or even DX9 made them, like, just add some ratchets to here. Really, the design is pretty good. It's the quality of materials that is not so good. So if some other company came and took this exact same thing and made it with a little better plastic, added some ratchets and stuff, like this guy would be perfect. As he stands, he is way too expensive for what you end up getting, at least on the aftermarket. I feel like Daca Toys has a big stock of these and just kind of puts them on eBay one at a time every so often. And they seem to go for like $500 when they, in all right, shouldn't. I feel if you pay $500 for this, you are bound to be super disappointed. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Again, a big shout out to Robert D, my castmate over at Shattered Cast Uncut, and Autotron Prime on Shapeways, who really got this guy back into a serviceable condition for me. I really appreciate both of you, and I'll see you guys all next week.